All right, folks, you know what time it is. We're back here for episode 5, Raising Kanan, Power Book 3, Nigerian Lucas. We're back each and every week here for our review, recap, the full breakdown of each of these episodes. We're jumping right into it today with this episode being Choose Your Battles. And I'm starting with, I think is probably the focal point that I want to clear up before it even gets all crazy on the internet.
Oh, shit.
This is the Scrappy and Kanan whole situation that went down. Kanan, we're going to come after this, but Kanan wasn't trying to hear it with Davina. We said that last week. We already knew once Juke came to him about saying that she felt that Davina was the rat. We knew Kanan wasn't going to be up for it. We knew they were going to have a falling out about it. We'll see where that goes beyond this episode, because it could have been a temporary little, disagreement, but we'll see, because they're family, and we'll see how that happens. But Scrappy is what I want to talk about here. Scrappy is who Kanan thought did it in pure denial, the person he wanted it to be.
I'm about to say, not he thought. I think I wanted to be him, because if it's not him,
it's my girl.
I know who's the issue here.
Yes. And Scrappy played his case. Scrappy said, your mom ain't lead me here, because if she did, I would have already been got. And I am the most loyal. And everybody up and down the board said he is the most loyal. And they had a little, they went to the body. They did a little something to toughen them up. And I respect that. That's some real posture. So I appreciated that. But the thing is, we see at the end of the episode that Scrappy aligns himself with Neek. And he is, this is why I wanted to cover this first. If anybody for one moment believes him, if anybody for one moment believes that he flipped just like this.
Well, if they did, they didn't pay attention to anything in this episode.
That's why I want
the moment him and Raq meet up, you kind of understood that was the plan. Like, I need you to get into this organization. But that goes back to the level of trust they have in him, that she will go to him and say, I need you to infiltrate this organization. Do you have an in? That nigga who saw him fight Kanan became his in. And the moment he got that in, that's all she needed. And she was going to use that to her advantage and say, hey, get into this nigga organization. You could tell the way he was looking at the whiteboard when he got in there. Like, those was plans he was looking at.
Yeah.
And no, ain't nobody staring at those plans without him trying to remember what they are, so he can alert Raq, like, hey, this is what's going on. This is this is how everything. Come on now. I thought that was obvious. I thought you was going to come with something.
Oh, no.
Way more difficult to have to clear the air.
Nope. That's what. Look, man. Look, this is the pride we take in covering this show. We want to make sure we get out our intellectual perspective of the show and the writing and the angles and the storylines and all of that stuff. And I know this is one that people are going to go kind of crazy about. That's why I want to make sure I adjust it first. And also to connect this with not just theory, but with fact. Raq did say that we're not starting a war, but I need to know what he's doing before he does it. We need to smoke out the rat. If he was the rat, why would she allow this to happen? Why would she purposely lead him to the cheese?
Who would do that? That makes no sense.
This is textbook. This is what the feds do. This is what a narc does. They say
I just thought we were gonna start with, wow, Lou was right. I remember when they said something about this man having cancer, and I said, oh yeah, I know he's related to Kanan. I said, I don't know how though. I said, I'm not sure if they're going to do the father angle, because that's kind of odd to do that, or uncle angle, and they go right to the father angle. And
this episode was really transparent for me. A lot of things that we kind of speculated on did come about. Wasn't a lot of action. Wasn't a lot of revelations in regards to the storyline. A lot of the things that we thought were going to happen, as this is the 5th episode, this is where it should happen. If we think a little bit wiser about, because we don't really talk about the next episode. We focus on this episode, but we would have took the time last episode to say these are the things that we're seeing starting to come to fruition. we said, oh, it's episode 5 next week. It's got to be next week when all these things are happening.
That's when everything normally gets revealed, and the story sets itself up for the remainder of the season. Is in any show you watch that has 10 to 13 episodes. Episode 5 is the pivotal. That's the turning point. That's let's focus here, and that's what this episode did. And it gets rid of what I consider filler also. Juke's situation got rid of a filler relationship that we did not need. So but boy, do we need her. This was one of the best single performances from an actress on Power. Like, just the highs and lows they bring her through in this episode, and the range of emotion she shows on her face during these highs and lows were impressive.
Yeah, see, I wasn't familiar with her work, but we both just got to see Respect, where she plays one of the sisters on there.
Yeah,
and she does a fantastic job there. So it, two things to confirm here. She's both verbally blessed with her voice and singing. And she is a legit actor. She's really good. Power is, a good sample dose of what she could become. But I thought Respect showed us a lot of who she is, and whether you know her work or not, like I didn't, I think she's one to keep an eye out on. I think the more and more we get into the season, the more and more we're going to start to see the banana peel start to come down for her. And I think also too, I think it's also a good thing to let it happen in this way, because if she becomes if she overshadows Kanan's actor,
well, she's already done that. I mean, at this point, you just gotta hope to pull back. And Kanan, now that Kanan knows how to cook crack, maybe his character or new daddy, enter new daddy, maybe then it will become a better story.
So we do got a lot to cover. So I want to let's put a bow on the Scrappy thing. Do you think, by any means, Neek is hip?
Now that is the more interesting point. No, right now. I think as it goes on, he may become hip to what's going on, but right now I would say no. Because keep in mind, he's taking the word of one of his trusted folk. And everything aligns to make sense. Like, hey, you're getting to describe with Kanan. Kanan is now like the prodigal son. This dude skipping me in line for all of that makes sense to him. I think as the season goes on, we'll see possibly cracks in that making sense. Because if he doesn't go in questioning this guy's motives, then he's not good at what he does. So I think he's always going to question, like, are you really for me? Or did Raq send you to set me up? Like, everything of that nature. But right now, no, I don't think he has the idea that the guy is playing both sides.
And if he did, then what's the tell for this story arc then? If he instantly was like, oh yeah, he's definitely clowning, like this ain't real. So like it has to play in this fashion of him being gullible, believing it, and then either that plays on out or he actually does reveal that he knew. So like, it has to be something to that, because Scrappy had a super pivotal part in this episode, and that's why, even going back to last week when we kind of said like, oh, he got sick and he wasn't at the stash house, if you took a little bit of time just to think forward, it's like, well, that was also an unnecessary scene unless it was necessary to play for something coming forward. So that's interesting. Now here's something else I want to throw out before we actually get to the juicy stuff. Let's talk about Kanan's dad. Well, the dad before we knew the real dad. Now his dad, Rondell.
Oh, I thought you was about to say sincere. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Symphony. My
That's funny. That is funny. That joke actually would have been a lot funnier too if the whole thing with Detective Howard didn't go down.
Hey, yes.
But Rondell DEFCON Stark, who we see is locked up for good since 74. I actually got the charges written down if people care, but that's not the important thing here. The important thing to me is that they mention him on a Mount Rushmore of Kingspan alongside of the likes of Nicky Barnes and Frank Lucas. Why is this important to me? Because that starts to tell you that this show is in a canon universe of other drug dealers in New York. If they are going to start touching some of these other names and some of these other stories, especially in this.
Let's just say they won't. I'm gonna cut you. I didn't mean to cut you off so fast.
But would they?
Well, if they did, technically, by the time of this show, it would be one in New York at that time, or someone from New York. So
that they're not even talking about and we've been talking about the DC thing eventually, and we said like maybe they use those characters likeliness, but now they could actually use these characters.
Well, no, they can't because
people. I mean,
they can't use them because they would have to pay them.
Yeah, because people still around.
You have to pay them. You can mention Nikki and Frank because it's so far gone, and both of them, like, they're not prevalent to the names that we associate with this time period.
Witness protection out yonder. Well, Frank at least, but yes. Yes.
So it's like, okay, you can mention the names, but you can't like go past that. I think it was just to hype up just how big of a drug dealer he was, and the best way to do it is by naming. But keep in mind, they named two. It's literally one in the 80s they could have named in New York, and they skipped him to name two people from a completely different decade.
But see, I'm still intrigued at the fact that they still name people when I don't think they ever made in Power. They definitely have never made references to anybody of any statue of any period. So this was definitely an eye opener to say, oh, so this actually does exist in society, should we say, in the real world. So, and that's why I wanted to bring it up, because I'm like, well, where does this go beyond this? And again, I keep playing with the idea of what are they going to do when Juke eventually gets to DC.
I actually believe whenever they move Juke out of New York, they'll never bring her up again.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm starting to see the way, in my mind, the way they're going to play this out, and the way you need to play it out is if Juke leaves, it needs to focus strictly on Kanan. No one else. Because, but then, I don't know, at what point do you stop it? Do you end the show? Or do you possibly, again, this is future casting here, but do you possibly end the show when Juke is moving to DC? See, because that's the family separating.
Yeah, but see, the only thing is that this show is running a parallel as much as it is about Kanan, it is about Laverne. So it's kind of like.
But at what point do you think they're going to stop that? Because I think that's going to happen.
I mean, to me, it makes sense for it to happen because of a lot of reasons. Juke is, I think, just by internet survey, I think she's become the most popular character of the show. I think she's putting on one of the best performances on the show. And I think that's very detrimental to the person that this focuses on. And beyond just what Raising Kanan does as a series, what's the implications of what this book does to other books if your main character doesn't hold the weight that it needs to? We know Tommy is going to be top tier because he's one of the favorites in the Power universe. About to say Commissioner Tate, Governor Tate. See, it's not enough star power, but see, Kanan had a little bit of half and half, and that's why fans are a little indifferent about how they're taking to this. But then, if he isn't the one even shining, then that hurts a lot of the perspective of the show. Do
you think it can? I think it may be only a Kanan show issue that this could happen in. Like in Tommy's show, in all honesty, Tommy can't be the main voice because he's a psychopath. So you literally need someone for him to play off.
They're gonna humanize him. It's coming.
I don't know how much you can. I think you've established it enough that we can add another. I think they're gonna go with the route of we can add another character to do that. Same thing with Lorenz show.
They'll just add a woman. I mean, everyone hated Holly as much as
I think it'll be
Tommy was the same issue.
From the cast that they announced, it looks like it's going to be a guy because the other lead with a name is male.
Yeah.
So again, but for Kanan, I think it's just a situation where right now we are stuck in a situation where Jukebox story is way more interesting. But if
Yeah.
you notice, they have pulled away all the interesting elements of Jukebox's story. They're
Well,
like, yep, we're going to get through these. And now we're going to give you the more interesting parts of Kanan. And maybe that was the setup. Because again, as we said, by the 5th episode, you get the focus of the season. Now we have it. It's Kanan progressing in drug dealing. It's new father situation between him and Raq that's going to come to a head eventually, especially with this guy needing a transplant. And we know Kane is a match. We ain't got to question it at this point. Kane is a match for his transplant. So we know all of this stuff. So then that brings Kanan more to the forefront of being not the knucklehead kid that he really comes across in this episode as. And then they're going to kill his girlfriend. So I mean, it's power. She has to die, right? She has to die.
It's true. As people would say. Wait, what's Tommy line again? Because I'm about to botch this one. Something about Christmas. It is. Jump in the comments, folks. Let me know what the infamous Tommy line is. It's either Christmas or it's coming or something like that. But anyway, it for her, it's for sure. It's going to be her time.
Yeah.
But I guess let's talk about Detective Howard. So yes, he needs a donor. He needs a BMT, which is a bone marrow transplant. Which, if you don't know why he needs that, is because, as Lucas said, he has leukemia, and leukemia is it's a form of cancer that to this day and age people could beat by just changing their lifestyle. And going through some chemotherapy and they'll get through it. But a bone marrow transplant was at this point was what they felt was the medical solution for these things. And regardless of getting too medical about it, this is the path that they're trying to take. And as Lucas said, he doesn't have any family that is, they
highlighted that way too much in that episode about his family and his illness.
Now, the question is, at what point did he start to lay his eyes on Kanan? For what reason? Was he watching him for Raq and trying to figure out what's going on in regards to the business? Was he watching him? Oh, let me throw you all three. Was he watching him because of Raq? And he gave the whole speech about the prince and all this other bullshit, right? Was he watching him for that? Or was he watching him the entire time because he had suspicion that was his son, and this became a medical journey to up his chances for survival here? Now, which was his path in saying, I need to start tracking what Kanan's doing?
Oh, it was clearly to catch Raq and take her down. He believed her wholeheartedly when she said how old Kanan was. And I think that's what fucks with him more than anything else, that he believed her when he know he shouldn't have believed her.
Yeah.
So he left that alone. He didn't care one bit about that little dude. He didn't care one bit about him. But now, I think the caring is going to show way more than just he's my saving grace. Because at this point, clearly, and I knew it from the first time they showed them two together, that something happened between them two. Now, when we go deeper in it and we find out just what happened between them two and how close they were, that's the more interesting story.
Yeah.
That brings Kanan's character more into focus on his parents and what they did. How did her drug dealer kingpin boyfriend go to jail and she started a relationship with a cop? What happened there?
Yeah. Not to mention, if she knew what, okay, two things. First of all, before I go any further, the quote is canceling Christmas. So I figured it out. So Tommy, go cancel Christmas before anybody cancel me. But the interesting thing about this is that Kanan Starks is his name. So he took his father that's in jail.
Of course.
Raq knew the entire time because by the conversation.
She was pregnant. Of course she knew.
Exactly. where his last name should be Kanan Howard.
Mm.
So the interesting thing is, did she do it to protect him, or did she do it in pure ignorance? But the other important question is, Kanan this episode expressed about how sometimey his mom has been with him. You want me to do this, then you don't want me to do this. And regardless of how we play that out, there seems to be a growing concern of trust with his mother. When this lands on him, this is not going to go good.
Oh, you know it's not. It's not gonna go good.
This is not good. This
I
is
mean,
not good.
what are you gonna do? Revolt against her, nigga? You a cop's son now, like nigga. Any street career you have is only with her at this point. You're a cop's son. You better be quiet. You better be quiet. Kanan Howard, you better be real quiet and just go along with whatever ride your mama set up.
Yeah.
I mean, your mama taught you how to cook crack. My mama never taught me how to cook crack. I only know my mama didn't know how to cook crack, and she wouldn't have taught me how. She literally became the worst mother in the Power universe. This is really hard to pull off here.
So let's talk about that. So two things. Number one, I was thinking, well, how did we get to this point? Like you was just a scrap, and then next thing you know, you're like, okay, we're going to teach you how to cook. She's like, this is my biggest regret in my entire life. You teach him how to do it. You tell him to put on his mask, and then she didn't have on hers. It's just she wasn't right next to him.
She was pulling it up. She was pulling her shirt up.
Okay.
Come on, we know. We've seen enough episodes of Snowfall. I am not going to relate anything to real life. I'm just going to say I've seen enough episodes of Snowfall to know you better have something covering your face
at all
when
times.
You're doing that. Yeah, that was nuts.
But why? Why did she teach him? And the question, the answer to my own question is that, was this a line of one gaining, giving him purpose / trust, and or was this to establish further credibility to the implant of Scrap inside of Unique's business? They're saying like, because you remember his approach was like, well, he's the next one up. And he's a liability if he ever gets caught in a situation where I guess Unique may be looking with his binoculars like, is he in there cooking? And if he's not cooking.
Oh, but I would think not, because in all honesty, he's the son of the Kingpin. One thing he shouldn't be doing is cooking. It's like, that's the nigga. We have people do that for us. We don't physically. That's for your uncles to be doing. You ain't got no business cooking. But I think they did a good job of her saying that she's doing this because if something happens to me, I need you to be able to do this to take care of yourself. And I love the line between them two when he said, "But you told me nothing would ever happen to you," and she's like, "No, you know enough now to know that ain't real. That's not something I can promise."
Foreshadowing.
I think yes, and I think that did a great job of having Kanan understand the situation he's in.
Yeah,
like you always, any kid thinks like, especially at 15, 16, my mom's invincible at that age. So to have that curtain pulled back on him so early can really affect the way things happen moving forward with the show and how he sees things moving forward during this show.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about Laverne, aka Jukebox, who got her nickname because everybody would give her 25 cents to sing their favorite song. So
you owe Lou an apology too, by the way.
Yeah. What?
You owe Lou an apology, by the way. Not this Lou. Show Lou. You owe him an apology.
Okay. So yes, let's talk about everything she's been through in this episode. So Juke was suspicious of Davina and Kanan didn't like it, so they had a small fallout. Juke also is a little hands off with what's his name?
Famous.
There we go. And they got a weird relationship. They got a weird relationship, friendship thing, and that's cool. That's pretty standard for this age of teenagers to like the aggressive notions and talking to each other, but still wanting to like still be cool. Because like she definitely wasn't fucking with him, but at the same time,
I wanted to say something, but boy, I don't want Big Gold Belt to get canceled, because my thought process is, I mean, it's a lot of guys. I know I had one growing up in high school, like the girl who clearly was not into guys, but man, she was cute, and we all wanted to smash like that. It was normal, like that's a normal thing. So I found that interaction between them two when she said she finally did something, and Famous reaction would be just like any other guy, any other kid's reaction to that. Like, what? I've been waiting on you since you was 5. Like, how dare you let some other person get it?
Ain't nothing but the truth here. Ain't nothing but the truth. That is a 1,000,000,000% authentic right there. And I dare somebody challenge that. But but eventually that landed the two of them in the studio. And here's the thing. Lou, who said he wasn't going to pay for studio time. And I guess we can determine this however you want. But did he actually pay for studio time, or did he buy the studio?
Oh, no. See, what he did say is not that he said, I wouldn't pay for studio time because of Marvin. But then he also said, because she asked him for, well, you know the guy, you get a favor. We don't owe people favors.
Right.
But the moment now, that guy owes Lou a favor. See, it's a much different thing when I cash in chips versus you cashing in chips.
Gotcha.
So fair he's point. Like, oh, so what does it take to keep the studio open? Not a problem.
Yeah.
Oh, now my niece sings on everything.
Yeah.
You no longer have a choice. Yeah. Because at this point, you owe me. As long as I don't owe you and I'm asking for a favor, because that whole time he was not asking, well, could she sing? He's like, no, she's singing.
Yeah.
It's no choice.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's the perfect opportunity for him to show her
Monopoly.
The difference between owing someone and taking advantage of someone.
Yeah,
he took advantage of him.
Straight Monopoly here. Yeah, yep. You're right. Thank you for articulating it that way, because you're absolutely right. So yeah, now she's on the way with the music. Famous has got what he needed. Famous sister is basically almost an irrelevant character at this point, because
don't do Angela like that.
I'm just saying that's just what it is. Okay. But
look, why is Famous still rapping about murdering multiple people? We literally went through an episode where he told him no one's gonna believe you do this.
The streets need a body, and I was like,
the moment he said it, I said, oh.
And they were cheering it on. I was like, okay, so
wait a minute. Everything of last episode just went right out the window.
Yeah.
That dude, that's it was still hilarious though to hear him say the streets need a body. Like, Nick, are you the body? Because you clearly you're not the shooter. So are you the body?
Hey, get that dude out of here. But the moment that we've been anticipating was Juke and her girl Nicole talk about spaghetti. That's all I want. Nah, but seriously, we knew something was going to happen at some point.
Uh-huh.
The interesting thing is, I didn't think it would be the mom to flip out the way they did. I thought this was the dad that was going to do it. So is there anything to read in the room here? The mom obviously kicked her out, blamed her, and like that hurt. Like that whole scene hurt, like for real. Because like Juke, I mean, she put on a performance in these 3 to 4 minutes here, because the emotions were just easily triggered. I know it's going to get a response from the audience, but the question here is where do we see this going? Now, you said you pretty much got this being written off, but I thought it was interesting that the mom was the one who was more responsive. She also said that she would the mom went full blown Karen, because she was all the slander. But the dad, who we thought was the more of the racial whatever idiot bigot, he was in full blown like, what's happening? And they explained it. He was like, what? I don't get it. Is there anything to be saved here, or is this just the right?
What that told me was the mother already knows that her daughter is gay. and she's not accepting that her daughter is gay, and the father doesn't. So when she blows up on her that way, she's attempting to blame, like, I finally got someone to blame that you're the way you are. And that's what the mother did there, while the father is oblivious to any of this. So that means the mother's not even told him that she knows that their daughter is gay. So he's just like, wait a minute, what the hell is going on here? Like, all of this, even if you're trying to explain it to him in that moment, he's still going to be like, what? No, what's going on here? Instead, the mom knows what's going on. And her thing is, I don't want you, which unfortunately happened a lot, especially for to kids in the community during this time period in this country. Matter of fact, to this day in this country, where you have parents who react this way, you know the truth, and you try to find someone to blame. And she found Jukebox. Jukebox is the perfect person for her to blame for her daughter being the way that she is, instead of just listening to her daughter.
Yeah.
Because it would not have been rape if Juke was a boy. Been perfectly like, oh, y'all need to stop that. But because it's a girl,
black girl,
and her girlfriend, Juke's girlfriend, hinted towards that when she said, "Oh, your parents are really cool." She said, "Not about everything."
Yeah, of course.
But we knew then, like, one of them weren't cool with her lifestyle.
Which means, yeah, that you're right. That means that someone knew.
And I think I think it's always been the mother.
One of the mother had an experience as to why she went into full-blown Karen, because she's in denial of her own situation.
Then that could be it, because that's unfortunately happens a lot where people put that off on their children, and or any form of what they deem, because it's not trauma, but any form that a parent may deem as trauma, and they see it in their kid, they act like it didn't happen. And I think, again, we see that here, and that's what made this scene so powerful. Because not only is the actress who plays Juke powerful, but I can't remember the girlfriend's name to save my life right now. Nicole. The actress that plays Nicole is great in this scene.
Oh, yeah.
Just that the vulnerability of her just standing in front of her mother crying. Like, no, she didn't do anything. I kissed her. Like, she's literally laying out. Like, you can't blame this on her. It's me. And a mother still like, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
So question then. We begin. We know Juke's story. We have been foreshadowing that this moment's coming. But Nicole, she's still she got parents. Everybody has parents. That don't stop her from doing what she wants to do. Do we see Nicole eventually making a change here?
Is she gonna go to the hood to fuck with Juke? Not with Marcus' crazy ass. If you think that white woman was unacceptable of that lifestyle, we goddamn know. Hey, but again, foreshadowing. What did Kanan say? I know your secret too. Don't make me. No, the only one who probably will be accepting would be Raq.
Yeah, of course.
And Lou would. Matter of fact, the only one that wouldn't be accepting is her crazy father. That's it. Like, nah, I mean, we may get some stuff of them like sneaking off with each other just to see each other.
Yeah.
But Juke was extremely hurt by that. And I think that becomes a trust issue.
Yeah, of course, that's super detrimental to all the momentum that they had. But we'll see. Maybe we see. Nicole.
Again, not only have we all tried to be famous, but we've also, most of us at least, have all had the situation where the parent says, "I don't want you around my daughter," or some women out there, or some guys out there, son, like, I don't know, stay away. Like, we've had these situations happen before. Ain't nothing new. Do we remember what we did as teenagers?
Yeah, exactly. I wonder if
just smashed in the playground.
Nicole might just show up at the studio a few times. I mean, she's very supportive of her music.
That's true.
We never know. Nicole might actually get down to DC too. You never know.
Man, you ready to put everybody in DC?
That's right. Look, instead of trying to kill everybody, that's the typical thing.
That's power.
Yeah.
We kill everybody, man.
Yeah.
We kill everybody that becomes useless.
Whatever happened to baby Tasha? She died too already, or what?
You know what? She gonna die when they kill a girlfriend. When they kill Kanan's girlfriend, they gonna kill baby Tasha too. Look here, I was waiting for some.
It's gonna be famous because the streets need a body.
Hey, look, I was waiting for some wild shit. Somebody to say, so Lou is having sex with famous sister. Are they gonna have Angela? Like, I was waiting for those connections to be made.
Dude, stop. Don't add fuel to the fire. So look, let's end the show on there. So the brothers got into a fight and they aired out each other's laundry, but they're brothers. So do we see there being an issue within the hierarchy of the brothers? I am going to say no, because I feel like Lou totally knows his brother. Mm-hmm. He knows how his sister roll. They got the new apartment, the double-decker apartment that they're getting ready to
that's what we need to talk about after this. We're going to talk about that because that's
which, I mean, yeah, you can answer both, but like I don't think there's going to be a problem with that. I think all this did with the fight and all that is disposed to us clarity that the understanding of how the three of them operate. He knows that his brother is an idiot, or Lou knows his brother Marvin is an idiot, knows he will lie about stupid stuff. Raq knows it too, and I think they all three together easily mitigate whatever the current issue is, as long as it doesn't jeopardize the business. They lost half their product. Kanan wasn't supposed to where he was supposed to be. Raq gave him an opportunity to speak. They didn't. She said, "Cool, did this. We got things to do. Put the next plan into action." And things went as normal. So I think that's key, because in most shows, when there's family drama, that's 3 to 4 episodes of whatever it is. This was like a huge issue that was like addressed. Cool business. Let's keep going. I don't think we're going to see. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna come back to. You had him in the stash house 2 episodes down from here. I think this is just what it is. So, but yeah, definitely speak on that, and then speak about the stash house. And I think that'll get us to our point.
For the social, I've always thought that Marcus eventually would lose his shit and become jealous of just the situation that he's in. And I still see that eventually coming to fruition. I just didn't see it in the first season. I mean, I think he's gonna be that way. He just can't help it. That's the way he's built to be. Now, I don't know if he's going to get jealous to the point where he turns on Raq. I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
But I think he get jealous to the point where he tried to do his own thing and buck her more and more instead of falling in line, which I see that happening. I think between him and Lou, that fight it just showed the hierarchy of things. We all assume, wrongfully so, like the younger brother was like the tough guy. He was the one. Before, if you told me these two were full before, I was like, yeah, he's gonna hand Marcus's ass. And they're gonna show that because of the way they portray us with Lou from the beginning. But boy, no. You're letting you know, like, Marcus is the knucklehead, but Marcus is actually the enforcer. It's not Lou.
Black Rambo.
Yeah. Like, he's the enforcer. He's the crazy one. But I did like the fight. I did like that they aired each other out, because that's what brothers do. Man, you say the most hurtful things in the world to family. But they brought up Marcus's bid, which is something I think eventually we're going to have to talk about. Because if he went away, why exactly did he go away? Who exactly did he meet when he was in prison? How will it affect them if they find out who Kanan's real father is? It won't affect Lou. It will affect Marcus.
Hey, so who on the Knicks was it? He said somebody on the Knicks smashed his baby mother. Who was it?
Anthony Mason. Hey, you gotta pick the most hood, Nick. Humanly possible. It's Anthony Mason, dog. It gotta be Anthony Mason.
Hey, dog, go ahead.
And with the stash house thing, thank you, Power, for introducing why People don't do high rises in the hood. This is literally why. And this is it's great, it's believable, and it's the perfect setup because this is what happened in every high rise. Eventually, people did stop doing the corner game for a minute, and they thought, I can just have you come to apartments and get this shit instead of me having to do the corners. And the get two apartments right below each other to hide the stash. Yeah, in the 90s, that can really work. Now, no, they're gonna break down every door, going down sideways. They know you have multiple units in there.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good way to set up and showing the evolution of the drug game in the 90s, or what we thought would be the evolution of the drug game in the 90s, of moving it to a different location. And it shows the way Raq thinks and the point that she is attempting to be forward thinking with everything.
Yeah. All right, folks. Well, that's going to do it for us with this episode. Let us know your thoughts about tonight's episode. This is episode 5 of Raising Kanan. We're back each and every week. So yeah, drop in the comments. Let us know your thoughts about tonight's episode. And as always, folks, we'll see you all next week. So tune in.